Hey everyone, welcome back to Retro Reel Recaps. Today we are talking about the movie The Other Man. It's a story of a man who discovers his wife's infidelity and becomes dangerously obsessed with hunting down her mysterious lover, only to uncover a truth more devastating than the affair itself. The movie begins with a beautiful woman named Lisa. She's on a yacht in Milano and looks very happy. Soon after, we see her at a fashion show. Her husband Peter and their daughter Abigail are there too. We learn that Lisa designs shoes. Peter looks very proud of her work. All the models in the show are wearing Lisa's designs. After the show, Lisa, Peter, and Abigail go to the model's dressing room. Lisa talks happily with the fashion designer and his assistant Ralph. At that moment, Abigail tells her father she is leaving because her husband George is outside. Abigail says goodbye to her parents and leaves with George. George seems like a very kind husband. Meanwhile, Ralph, who is Lisa's friend and the assistant, tries to convince her not to retire. But Lisa has made up her mind. She tells him it is the right time to stop working. As Peter is about to leave, he tells Lisa he will wait for her at a restaurant later so they can celebrate. That evening, Lisa meets Peter at the restaurant. They sit and talk. Peter has always been very caring and tells her he loves the shoes she designs. Peter also admits to Lisa that he does not like Ralph. Lisa laughs and they choose their food from the menu. Peter says this restaurant makes fish better than any other place in Milano. We find out Lisa travels to Milano often for her work, thinking about Peter being jealous of Ralph. Lisa asks Peter a question. She asks if he ever wanted to be with another woman besides her. Peter immediately says, no. He then explains that he has spent more than half his life with Lisa. Peter tells her his love for her has never grown weak. He says he never felt he needed another woman. Lisa smiles and tells Peter she loves him very much too. That night, Lisa and Peter are intimate. A few days later, Lisa tells Peter she is going to Milano again. She says she needs to finish some business with clients. Peter, who loves his wife very much, does not object at all. Lisa packs her bags and leaves. The story then jumps to a scene 9 months later. We see Peter looking very sad. He is taking all of Lisa's clothes out of their house. At the same time, Abigail comes to visit. She sees her father gathering her mother's clothes. He gives the clothes to Abigail and says he does not want them because seeing them is too painful. Abigail replies that she wears the same size, but she does not want them either. Why they are saying this is revealed later in the movie. After some time, Peter finds Lisa's phone. He takes it and puts it in his desk drawer. Then Abigail hands him a piece of paper. She says, "Mom asked me to give this to you." He opens it and sees the words Lake Como. That night, a voice message comes to Lisa's phone. Peter listens to it. He hears a man's voice saying he misses her so much. The man says he has not heard her voice in a long time, and he wishes he could. Peter is shocked and very upset. Why would a man send such a personal message to his wife? Peter never thought Lisa could cheat on him. Sadly, Peter leaves the phone on Lisa's laptop and goes upstairs to sleep. But Peter cannot rest, and he cannot stop thinking. He goes back to the office and starts looking through photos on the laptop. They are all family pictures until he finds a file named Love. Peter tries to open it, but it asks for a password. He tries guessing a few times, but nothing works. He keeps looking at the photos. He finds pictures of Lisa with Ralph from the last fashion show they attended. The pictures show Ralph was standing very close to Lisa. Peter is now very worried. He looks through Lisa's emails and sees one from a person named Ralph. In the email, the man talks about loving Lisa. He asks Lisa to leave everything and come back to him so they can be together again. Seeing this makes Peter very angry. The next morning, Peter goes to the fashion house. He confronts Ralph and asks him what his friendship with Lisa was really like. Ralph does not understand what Peter is trying to do. He tells Peter he always liked Lisa very much. Peter then asks, "Were you physically involved with Lisa?" Ralph looks upset and angry and says, "No." Ralph then tells Peter he wished he and Lisa were closer because he does not think Peter was right for her. Angry, Ralph says he does not know why Lisa loved Peter or married him. The owner of the fashion house then tells Peter a secret that shocks him. She says she knew Lisa had someone else in her life, but she tells him it was not Ralph, and she does not know who it was. Peter leaves the fashion house feeling very sad. He goes quickly to see his daughter Abigail. Peter tells Abigail everything he discovered, but she does not believe him. Abigail loves her mother deeply and says, "I will not let you talk about my mom that way." She prepares a room for him to sleep in. But as soon as she leaves the room, Peter leaves Abigail's house and hurries back to his own home. Back home, Peter sends an email to that same person, Ralph. He writes that the woman Lisa, whom Ralph loved, is no longer here, and he sends it. The next morning at his office, he asks his secretary to call Joy to his office immediately. Joy is the company's computer security expert. When Joy arrives, Peter writes down the email address that was sent the message to Lisa and gives it to Joy. Peter asks Joy to find the name and address of the person using that email. She asks if he plans to go after the sender. Peter admits he wants to kill him. But thinking about Peter's good reputation, Joy believes he is joking and promises to get him all the information. Peter stays at the office until evening. Then another email from Ralph arrives. In the email, Ralph writes that love never really ends. He says there are too many memories between them. He finishes the message by saying how happy he was that Lisa answered his last email. People in the office are confused about why Peter is working so late. The company's security officer, Eric, comes to ask Peter if he is all right. Peter then says to Eric, "You used to be a police officer, tell me where I can buy a gun." Eric replies that he will not tell him. Eric is worried that Peter might want to hurt himself. Later, Peter tries more passwords to open the folder on the laptop. Finally, he types Lake Como, and it opens. He is shocked to find pictures of his wife with another man in Milano. The photos show them meeting at restaurants by the lake and in a hotel room. The pictures make it clear Lisa had a very close physical relationship with that man. Peter is heartbroken and very angry at the same time. He remembers his 25 years of marriage with Lisa. Right then, Joy sends him the home address of the person who sent the emails. He learns the man's name is Ralph Cortez. He lives on Street 36, via Giuseppe Baretti, in Milano, Italy. Peter then asks his secretary named Gail to book him a flight to Milano and a hotel there. At first, Gail hesitates because Eric already told her that Peter wanted a gun. Peter is furious, but he manages to control his anger. Peter then asks Gail politely to book his flight, and Gail agrees. When Peter arrives in Milano, he goes to the building where Ralph lives. He cannot get in because the door is locked, so he waits outside until someone who lives there opens the gate. Just before it closes, he slips inside. He looks for Ralph's name on the mailboxes near the door. At first he does not see it, but soon he finds the name R. Cortez written there. After making sure Ralph lives there, Peter walks outside and waits near the apartment. He hopes Ralph will come out. After a while, Ralph finally comes out. Peter knows it is him right away and starts to follow him. He follows him until he sees Ralph go into a cafe. Peter goes in after him and looks around until he spots Ralph sitting in the area for chess. Peter stops and does not go over to him. Meanwhile, Abigail begins to worry about Peter. She calls him, but he does not answer. Then we see Peter in his hotel room in Milano. He cannot settle down and starts looking through the photos of his wife with Ralph again. He sees how happy and full of joy she looked with him. That night, Peter cannot sleep because of all the thoughts in his head. He remembers the times he was intimate with his wife, and how satisfied she seemed with him. These thoughts keep him awake all night. The next morning, he goes to the same cafe very early. He sits at the exact same table where Ralph usually sits, and he plays chess by himself. When Ralph arrives, he tells Peter that he always sits there. Peter then asks him to play a game of chess, and Ralph says yes. They start to talk and learn about each other during the game. Ralph tells Peter his mother is English and his father is Spanish. He says he does not stay in one place for a long time. He says he loves to visit London and New York. Just then, Peter gets a message from Abigail. She asks him to tell her he is okay. Peter then tells Ralph that he lives in Cambridge, England. As soon as Ralph hears about Cambridge, he starts to talk more openly. He says that his girlfriend lives in Cambridge. Ralph tells Peter he saw her in Milano. He tells Peter she was a shoe designer. He tells the story of the first time he saw her. He says she was wearing a beautiful pair of red shoes. He says she was very attractive, but what really got his attention was the design and color of her shoes. He says when she walked toward him, he immediately wanted to talk to her. Once he started talking to her, she answered as if she had known him her whole life. Peter asks him when that happened. Ralph answers, 12 years ago. Peter feels a deep shock and a feeling of being betrayed, but he makes himself calm down and asks, when was the last time you saw her? Ralph replies, 9 months ago, but I am sure I will see her again soon. At the same time, Abigail and her husband go to Peter's house to check on him, but they do not find him there. Abigail finds her mother's phone and listens to Ralph's message. She becomes shocked because she had not believed her father's story before. Peter spent the night outside the building where Ralph lives. He keeps thinking about the time he spent with Lisa, especially when she used to get ready to go to Milano. Peter thinks very deeply as it rains in Milano. The next day, Peter and Ralph meet again at the cafe. They play another game of chess. During the game, Peter asks if Lisa used to come to Milano often. Ralph says yes. He tells Peter about a time they were together at a shoe factory. He says that day, Lisa wanted to end their relationship, but he begged her to leave everything and run away with him. Then he started dancing with her in front of the factory workers, and she was very happy. After they finished dancing, the workers clapped for them. That night it rained and they ran together in the rain. Peter remembers a day when Lisa came back from Milano. He greeted her at the door. When she saw him, she smiled and said she missed him so much. He felt happy then. He thought the time apart had made her love him more. He did not know she had been unfaithful to him. That is why she was more loving to him, as she was feeling guilty inside. He also remembers the last conversation he had with her in the restaurant. The next morning, Peter meets Ralph at a museum. He asks Ralph if he ever married any of the women he was with. Ralph says, "I do not believe in marriage. Why would I marry someone, tie myself down, and not be able to meet other women?" Ralph then asks Peter if he is married. Peter says, "Yes, I have been married for 25 years. I love my wife, and she loves me. We trust each other completely. Neither of us has ever cheated." Ralph says, "It is hard for two people to stay loyal for that long." That night, Peter looks at the photos of his wife Lisa with Ralph on a yacht. He seems both furious and very upset at the same time as he imagines his wife enjoying time with Ralph on a yacht. The next day, we see Ralph and Peter at the cafe again. They are playing chess. Ralph says, "I am going to win this game. You are stuck and cannot get out." But Peter surprises him and wins the game with his next move. Right then, Ralph gets a call from Lisa's phone number. He panics, answers quickly, and says her name. Then he runs out of the cafe. Peter follows him. We find out it was Abigail who called Ralph using her mother's phone. When she hears his voice, she ends the call without saying anything. But that call makes Ralph hope he will see Lisa again. The next day, Abigail goes to her father's company to find out where he went. Meanwhile, we go back to Ralph. He tells Peter that the call he got the day before was from the shoe designer. He says she is the most beautiful woman in the world. He says when she left him, he knew she was the only woman he ever truly loved. He starts telling details about their relationship. Ralph tells Peter that you have to be good with your hands in order to make women love you. At that point, Peter imagines Lisa with Ralph and loses his temper. Peter suddenly gets very angry. Ralph thinks Peter is upset because he lost the chess game. He says it is just a game. Right then, Ralph sees one of the people he owes money to coming into the cafe. So he leaves quickly. Peter pays the man the money Ralph owes and then follows Ralph. As Peter chases Ralph, suddenly Abigail shows up and stops him. He asks her, "What are you doing here?" She says she found out who her mother was involved with. She called him and heard his voice. Peter tells her, "I see him every day. I play chess with him, I talk to him. From the way he acts and talks, I can tell he is a pathetic man." He then takes her to his hotel. He shows her the photos of Ralph with her mother. He reads her the emails Ralph sent. After that, he gets very upset. He says to his daughter, "I want to know, did I do something wrong? Why was I not enough for her? Why did she get involved with this worthless man? I am really thinking about killing him." He then tells her that he was the one answering Ralph's messages. He was pretending to be Lisa. Abigail is shocked. She says, "How could you do something like that? Just forget it and go back to London." When he says no, Abigail gets frustrated and leaves while yelling at her dad. The next day, Peter goes to the building where Ralph lives. As he gets there, he hears a sound coming from the janitor's room. He follows the sound and finds Ralph. Ralph is wearing very old clothes in an apartment on the ground floor. That is when Peter understands Ralph is the building's caretaker. But Ralph explains that he only goes down there to take care of a little turtle he found at the building's entrance. Right then, Peter sees a hammer in the room. He picks it up. In a moment of rage, he plans to kill Ralph, who has his back turned and does not see him. Somehow, Peter manages to control his rage. Soon, Ralph hands him the little turtle. He says how cute it is. Peter takes it, then gives it back, and leaves. When Peter gets back to the hotel, he finds his daughter there with her bag. She says, "I am going back to London now. You should forget all of this and come back too." But he says no, so she leaves. Peter goes up to his hotel room. He sends Ralph an email pretending to be Lisa. He tells him she will meet him at their old place, a hotel by Lake Como. He says to meet on Friday at 8 in the evening in the hotel restaurant. When Ralph reads the message, he is very happy. He calls Peter and invites him to dinner at his apartment the next day. Meanwhile, Ralph steals the keys to an apartment in the building where he has invited Peter. He knows the owners are not there. The next day he goes to that apartment before he meets Peter for dinner. When Peter gets to the ground floor, Ralph calls Peter from the stairs. He asks him, "Come up to my apartment." Peter goes up even though he knows it is not really Ralph's place. Ralph tells him he is going to meet Lisa on Friday. He asks Peter if he can borrow some money. Peter gives him all the money he asks for. Ralph then starts packing his bag to book a room at the hotel. On Friday, at the right time, Ralph leaves his hotel room and goes to the restaurant. But he is shocked to find Peter waiting for him. Peter tells him that he is Lisa's husband. He tells him that Lisa died of cancer 9 months ago. Ralph is shocked, but he sits down. Just then the waiter arrives, but both of them tell the waiter that they do not need anything. We go back in time to when Peter found out Lisa had cancer. The doctor tells him Lisa had known about it for a while. She refused treatment and now there is no hope. Ralph asks why she refused treatment. Peter tells Ralph that the doctor says Lisa did not want her body to be changed. Ralph tells Peter that Lisa did the right thing. He says she had always been beautiful. He says the treatment would have meant cutting off part of her body. Peter gets very sad. He asks what that part matters if it could have saved her life. We go back in time again. We see Lisa telling Peter she had been happy all through their marriage. He asks her to choose a place she loves and he will take her there. He gives her a piece of paper to write it down, but she cannot make herself do it. The next day she writes Lake Como on the paper. She gives it to her daughter. She asks her to give it to her father after she dies. As Lisa gets sicker, Peter and Abigail take turns looking after her. Back in the present, Ralph asks Peter how he found out about his affair with Lisa. Peter says he found pictures of them in a folder on her laptop. The folder was called Love. Ralph asks if he read the messages. Peter says, "I read them all. In fact, I was the one answering you at the end." Ralph says, "I will not say I am not a failure, but I am very good at making a married woman feel a love she never had with her husband. Maybe you got your revenge, but I lived the best moments of my life with your wife. I paid off my debts. She was delighted with me. She loved me. And thank you so much for the money you gave me. It bought me this suit and a room in this fancy hotel. Of course, you know I will never be able to pay you back." At that moment, Peter turns and walks away from him. We go back again to the moment Lisa died. She was in her bed with Peter and Abigail beside her. When she passed away, they both cried from sadness. Back in the present, we see Peter returning to his home in Cambridge. As Peter unpacks his bag, he sees the shoes designed by Lisa that were placed on his table by his daughter Abigail. Peter spends the whole day and night thinking about his wife Lisa. He thinks deeply about his relationship with Lisa. This kept him awake the whole night and he feels restless. Then he makes up his mind on something important. He decides to invite all of Lisa's friends for a dinner in honor of Lisa. But Peter decides to get revenge for Lisa's betrayal by calling Ralph to the dinner. Also, Peter plans to reveal Ralph's identity as his wife's secret lover during the dinner. Peter then sends an email to Ralph inviting him to dinner. Peter then travels to London after finding out that Ralph has arrived there. Only then he calls Abigail and tells her his plan. Abigail is worried. She quickly finds her husband, and she rushes to London. At the dinner, the owner of the fashion house and all of Lisa's friends are there. Ralph makes a speech in honor of Lisa. Peter smiles sarcastically as Ralph speaks. The audience is not impressed by Ralph's speech, but they still clap in honor of Lisa. Soon after, Abigail arrives. Peter is about to speak. Ralph appears to be tense as he thinks Peter might reveal his identity as Lisa's lover to the audience. As Peter is about to talk, Abigail looks at him deeply without saying anything, trying to convince her father to stop. Peter gently smiles at Abigail, and then introduces Ralph as Lisa's friend only. In his heart, Peter forgives Lisa. Peter then pays tribute to his wife Lisa, the love of his life. Abigail clearly looks proud of her father. In the last scene, we see Peter and his daughter at the train station. They are waiting for the train that will take them back to Cambridge. Peter tells Abigail that Ralph is an appalling, brave, but at the same time a dreadful person. Peter tells Abigail that Lisa never understood him completely. But Abigail is proud of her father for forgiving her mother Lisa and her lover Ralph. She proudly rests her head on Peter's shoulder, and Peter looks at her affectionately. And that is the end of the story. If you like this video, please press the like button, share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.